In my last video, I talked about how recent polling shows that more than 1 in 3 Democrats believe that their party is weak, ineffective, rolls over, inept. I mean, you could just go on, spineless. How they do think that the platform and the policies within of the Democratic Party are better for the people, but they think that their elected representatives lack the fight that is necessary to defend democracy at this point in history. And in that video, after I had my little rant where I was like, F Merrick Garland and his timidity and what he has cost the American people, I showed a clip from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett where she had the Texas Democratic legislators behind her. And she was saying, hey, America, you want elected officials who have a spine, who have fight in them, who are willing to defend the Constitution, willing to defend you and democracy? Here they are. They're all right here behind me. It's the Texas Democrats. I mean, I know we like to think of Texas as a red state. It's a state that's been gerrymandered all to hell, just like most of our other red states. There are millions and millions and millions of Democrats in Texas. There are not really red states, y'all. There are gerrymandered purple states. Now, when I was a kid in San Antonio, the governor of Texas, Ann Richards, was a Democrat. And I actually just went and looked up the voter registration data for Texas. Guess how many of the 17.46 million registered voters are Democrat in Texas? It's 8,134,000. Guess how many registered Republicans there are in Texas? 6,600,000. And then about 2,750,000 Texas voters are unaffiliated, independent. How is it then that both senators, the governor, the president of the state senate, the speaker of the House, how is it that they're all Republicans? And how is it that when there are 1.5 million more registered Democrats than there are Republicans, that out of, 38 seats that Texas has in Congress, only 12 of them, I think, are held by Democrats? It's because, like Republicans all over, Texas Republicans rely on gerrymandering and other voter suppression tactics in order to maintain their hold on power. So what we've seen in Texas is that Donald Trump, just like in Georgia where he was like, find me 11,000 votes, in Texas he's like, find me 5 seats in the House and flip them to Republican so that we can win. Because otherwise we're going to be absolutely screwed in the midterms. Republicans are going to lose the House and maybe even lose the Senate. They're definitely going to lose the House though, unless we cheat. We got to hurry up and cheat so that Republicans can stay in control. So Donald Trump told Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who told the Texas House Republicans that, hey, we're going to come back together and we are going to have a special session and we are going to gerrymander the hell out of our map in a year where it's not time for redistricting at all. We are doing this blatantly out in public. We are telling the whole country and the whole world we can't win unless we cheat, and now we're going to cheat and we think we can get away with it. And Abbott's pissed because Texas House Democrats are like, we're not going to let you get away with it. In fact, we're going to leave the state to deny you a quorum so that you cannot push through this heinously illegal agenda, which will disenfranchise millions of Texas voters. Texas voters, your governor, Greg Abbott, does not give a shit about you having representation in government, especially not if you're brown or black. He does not want you to have representation. He doesn't want you to be able to exercise your right to vote. He doesn't want your voice to be heard in Congress. He just wants fascism. He wants white supremacy. So many establishment Democrats, and this is why the polling is so bad for Democrats, have shown they are weak, they are lily-livered, they are spineless, they are not willing to do what is required of them in order to defend democracy. And they're just letting fascism just steamroll on through. They're not even putting up a fight. They're just laying down, let it roll on through. Texas House Democrats have said, fuck that. We are not going to let this just take over. And Texas House Democrats have been like, fuck that. We're not going to let fascism steamroll us. And now we're seeing Democratic governors, Governor Pritzker in Illinois has stood up from day one. I don't want to diminish all that he has done to vigorously defend democracy thus far. But he right now, Gavin Newsom from California and Kathy Hochul from New York are all saying, oh, if Texas and now Florida think that they can gerrymander because they have a Republican-controlled state house, then okay, well, if this is the new expectation, this is the new norm, that if you have power, you can cheat. If you have power, you can gerrymander and nobody can stop you. Hey, guess what? There's an awful lot of blue states, and they are big blue states with a lot of representation. So game on, motherfucker. According to The Hill from 2 days ago, both Gavin Newsom and Kathy Hochul are exploring every option to redraw congressional lines in their states. Now, California actually has a nonpartisan commission whose job it was to draw up the district map so that there couldn't be gerrymandering, because it's important for everybody to have representation in government, not just the Republicans. It's actually important to have a representative democracy, not straight out fascism. And again, myself and so many other people have said we need Democrats to fight dirty. We need them to fight fire with fire. And here we are seeing Gavin Newsom willing to do that. He said, okay, if Republicans have thrown out the playbook, if they have abandoned not only the American people and the rule of law, we can't sit here and say we're not going to get our hands dirty and be able to win against their overt, brazen cheating. So Newsom and Hochul and Governor Pritzker and others are saying, like, okay, well, if Republicans are now saying it's not cheating, it's perfectly legal, it's fine, it's justifiable for them to gerrymander whenever they want. Okay, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
And as someone that supported independent redistricting as an elected official when it first was presented to the voters of California, it took me a little bit to get on the other side of this. But now I'm realizing, to your point, the existential nature of this moment. And the other side, there are no rules. They're assassins in this respect, in terms of the approach they take to power and to ultimately control. And so, we're not only going to fight fire with fire, we're going to punch above our weight. California is the size of 21 state populations combined. We have an independent redistricting. We have not gerrymandered our state. No state has more to give to this contribution of the counteroffensive than the state of California. So we'll neuter what they're doing in Texas, but we'll one-up that, because we'll take some of the more competitive districts, and they'll be less competitive as a consequence. And to your point, it's an arms race. I'm not naive about that. But it's also, a race to 250. Next year is the celebration of the founding fathers and the vision that the founding fathers laid out, the best of Roman Republic, Greek democracy, system of checks and balances, the rule of law, popular sovereignty. It's all at risk. And so forgive me for belaboring the point. But I think the point you're making is a difficult one, is how you reconcile those two things. You want to do the right thing. You want to, sort of aspire to the better angels. But we also have to be accountable.
Exactly. Gavin Newsom, for all my criticism of him, he has shown up with the kind of courage that is required in this moment. He needs to have the follow through. So far, we've seen him have the follow through against Trump and the fascists, and he needs to have it here. And Governor Kathy Hochul in New York said something similar. You have to fight fire with fire. All's fair in love and war. We are seeing Democrats who understand the message. We are seeing Democrats who are showing up to the fight, but not enough of them. We need all of them to come to the party. We need all of them not only to hold the line for democracy, but to push back against fascism. This is not a time for passivity. This is a time for offense. So I want you to hear what Congresswoman Crockett had to say about that.
Democrats, I need y'all to listen to me clearly when I say that once we get control back, we have to be just as aggressive, if not more aggressive than the Republicans, to do right by the people. It is time for us to rebuild the trust with the American people. Unfortunately, they did not trust us, and that's exactly why we got here. It's not because Donald Trump is so great. It's not because he put up such great numbers. Unfortunately, so many Democrats stayed at home because they just did not believe that we would fight for them. Mm-hmm. But this is why I'm so proud of my former colleagues from the State House, because Texas Democrats, well, we do everything bigger in Texas, including fight as Democrats.
The Congresswoman is absolutely right. You want voters to believe in you, you got to show up and fight for them. You got to show up and prove that you are willing to fight for the people and represent the people and get justice for the people. It's not just right now what's happening with this gerrymandering, fighting against that. It's once you get back into office, making sure that you get justice for all of us, that you don't try and sweep this shit under the rug. We need our Democrats to have a spine, to be fighters for democracy and for justice. And if they're not prepared to do that, get the fuck out of the way, because there are so many people who are perfectly willing to take those seats in Congress and do that work of defending, of restoring democracy, of creating an America that is of, by, and for the people.